Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we shall be seeing what are Fourier integrals. So you already know about Fourier series. So the difference between Fourier series and Fourier integrals is that in Fourier integrals what you do, you replace the sums by the corresponding integrals. So that means we are now taking the continuous terms in this case of Fourier integral. So let me first tell you what a Fourier integral look like, and then we shall see from where it came, right? So in that case, your given function f of x is defined by 1 by pi integration from 0 to infinity a of omega cos omega x. I'll be telling you all these terms. What are this omega, a omega, and terms like that. So just bear with me. So we have plus b omega sine omega x d omega, right? Where your a omega, that is equal to, taking the integration from minus infinity to infinity, f of t cos omega t dt, and your b omega, that is equal to, taking the integration from minus infinity to infinity, f of t sine omega t dt, right? So this is what is the, so let me write down, this is your Fourier integral representation. Now once you know what is this representation, let's move on further to study from where it come, what are the conditions on f and terms like that, right? So first of all, let me write down what conditions are required on the given function f of x, right? So for that, so we say that if the function f of x is not periodic, then it cannot be represented by a Fourier series over the entire real line. This you already know. If a function is not periodic, then it cannot be represented by a Fourier series over the entire interval. By entire interval, I mean the whole of the real line, right? So in that case, what we can do, we can use this integral representation. So we may use the integral representation for the function f of x. So for writing this integral representation of the function f of x, what all things are required? So the things that are required for this function is that if I say that the function f of x have the following properties, then only I could define the integral representation for this particular function. So the first property over here is that f of x is piecewise continuous on every integral of this kind. closed interval from minus L to L, where L is any arbitrary number. So it should be piecewise continuous in every interval. Second condition is that it should be absolutely integrable. Now what does it mean? Absolutely integrable. So that means its integration, the absolute value of its of the function could be integrated, right? So f of x is absolutely integrable on the x-axis. That means if you take whole of the real line and then you perform its integration of the absolute value of this function, so this value should be convergent in nature. So that means it will give you some finite result. And the third property the function should follow is that at every x on the real line, so that means at every point x, the function f of x should have left and right hand derivatives. If that is so, we can define the Fourier series of the function. Then the Fourier series of the function f of x in the interval minus L to L, closed interval, this half closed and half open, this is given by f of x is equal to a naught by 2 plus summation n varies from 1 to infinity a n cos n pi x upon L plus b n sin n pi x upon L. So this you already know, where what are these coefficients, where the coefficient a naught is given by 1 by L, integration from minus L to L f of t dt. Now this is some dummy variable, so I can use t here instead of x. Then you have a n that is given by 1 by L, integration minus L to L f of t cos n pi t upon L dt, right? And in a similar fashion you can write bn, which is given by 1 by L, integration minus L to L f of t sin n pi t upon L dt, right? So these are the coefficients. Now what I can do here, I can set the value of n pi upon L to be equal to omega. This I am defining by myself. So that means if this omega corresponds to n, so I can call this omega n to be n pi upon L. Therefore, what would be omega n minus 1? It would be in place of n, we would have n minus 1 pi by L. So therefore, if I take the difference, omega n minus omega n minus 1, this difference would come out to be equal to n pi by L minus n minus 1 pi by L. So it would simply be equal to pi by L, right? So this is nothing but the difference between two consecutive terms. So I can write delta of omega, the difference between omega, to be pi divided by L, right? So we have these two terms. So now what I can do, I can substitute these two values in the above expression for f of x. So that means whenever I see n pi by L, I will replace that by omega, and the value of pi by L would be replaced by delta omega, or in other words I could replace from here 1 by L as delta omega divided by pi, right, into the given coefficients value. So this term, and this term. So let me do that quickly. So let's see, what do we have? We have f of x equal to delta omega divided by 2 pi integration minus L to L ft dt, plus moreover in place of these coefficients I am substituting the values here, so that I would obtain the integral form for the Fourier series. So when I'm doing this, so I have the first term to be this, the second term to be delta omega by pi, summation n varies from 1 to infinity of the term integration minus L to L f of t cos omega nt dt, right? In place of omega, you could write omega n because it is associated with n. So this term corresponds to an, and the term we had already was cos omega n x. Now these terms are going in the variable x, and the values of an, they are going with the dummy variable t. So you should note this thing over here. So this is the second term, and in a similar way you have the last term, third term, to be summation n varies from 1 to infinity. Instead of bn, now I can write minus L to L f of t sine omega nt dt. So this is the value of bn, and you have sine omega nx as such, right? So this becomes your Fourier series when you substitute the values of the constants, these, in the given Fourier series, and you have just replaced the term n pi by L as omega, so that your del omega becomes pi by L, right? So this is what you have. Now next thing that we'll be doing here is we will let L to tend to infinity. Why? Because we are now interested to see what is this representation on whole of the real line, so that the interval which earlier was going from minus L to L now will go from minus infinity to infinity. So, and that is what we were aimed to do here. So if you perform this L tending to infinity, your term delta omega, which was defined to be pi by L, because L is tending to infinity, this term will tend to 0 whenever delta L is tending to infinity, right? Clear with this? And moreover, in addition to this, the term delta omega by pi integration minus L to L ft dt, this term would tend to 0 because this delta omega, that is going to 0, and this quantity, this is given to be absolutely convergent, so its value would be some finite number. So 0 into finite number would tend to 0, right? Since integration from minus infinity to infinity, modulus of f of x dx converges, so it will give you a single number, a finite value over here, right? So when you apply all this thing onto the given integral, so what do you have? So I can write, whenever L goes to infinity, the summation now resembles the Riemann sum of a definite integral. If you do not remember what is a Riemann sum, you could go there and just see what a Riemann integral is, and then you could come back here, so that your function now becomes equal to 1 by pi integration from 0 to infinity of the term minus infinity to infinity. So instead of minus L to L, we have minus infinity to infinity f of t cos omega t dt into cos omega x. So now if this term is going to 0, so that means if you look at your expression here, so this first term is going to 0, so this term won't be present over there in the expression. So we have this term which I am writing now, and this term over here, right? So we have the first term as this one, and the second term as 1 by pi integration from 0 to infinity, integration from minus infinity to infinity, f of t sine omega t dt multiplied by sine omega x, right? So here I can write an equivalent form for this equation as, so let me call this to be rewriting the above equation. So I can write f of x as 1 by pi integration from 0 to infinity. Now I can define whole of this thing as a omega and whole of this thing as b omega. So therefore I can write this to be a omega, and so this would be a omega into cos omega x and plus 1 by pi integration 0 to infinity the term b omega and multiplied by sine omega x d omega, right? So this is what you have here. Where what is this a omega and b omega? This is what that I have explained to you. Where this a omega, this thing is equal to integration from minus infinity to infinity f of t cos omega t dt, and b omega, that is equal to integration from minus infinity to infinity f of t sine omega t dt, right? So this is what we wanted to prove here, or we wanted to reach over here. So we have expressed the given function, which might not be piecewise continuous and periodic over whole of the real line, in terms of the integral representation. So you can write this equation is analogous to Fourier series, where the sums now are replaced by integrals. Right? So we can call this equation as Fourier integral of the function f of x. Right? So this is we wanted to prove here. So I think you got a pretty clear idea about what is a Fourier integral and how we can reach from Fourier series to Fourier integral representation of the given function, and how this is useful. So in the next video we'll be seeing a problem where we'll apply this concept. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching.